my name is Kelly. Welcome to Workouts on Demand. Today's workout is Pilates. It's a blend of Pilates and yoga. So you'll need a mat or some floor space. Let's get to it. So we're going to start on our back. We'll roll ourselves down so that the entire backside is in contact with the floor or the mat. And we'll begin by establishing our neutral pelvis. So we want to have a nice neutral alignment so that we're safe for the entire practice today. Let's begin just by rocking back and forth. We'll exhale, press the low back down into the mat. Inhale, pull the tailbone down into the mat. And notice that as we exhale, press the low back flat. This is a deviation from neutral. This is the tucked position. As we inhale and pull the tailbone to the floor, this is an arched back position. So we're training ourselves before we start to figure out what feels wrong. We don't want to be here. We also don't want to be arched here. So let's take one more. Try to find the top edge and the bottom edge of the sacrum. The sacrum is that bone that's shaped like a triangle. It's right on top of the tailbone at the base of the spine. Warming up our abs a little bit here as well. And now that we know what it feels like to be out of neutral alignment, let's find the center point right in between those two positions. So if you put your hands on your pelvis, your hands form a nice flat triangle. Your triangle is not pointing up to the ceiling. Your triangle is not pointing down to the floor. It's nice and flat. Now from here, let's rock side to side. So draw the right hip a little closer to the mat, and then draw the left hip a little closer to the mat. And you'll rock a little bit from side to side. It might not be perceptible. You might not be able to see anything going on in my body or in yours, but you can feel the difference in the hips. You feel the difference in those muscles. So we're drawing ourselves out of neutral alignment toward the right hip, and then out of neutral alignment toward the left hip. So we know later on as we're going through our workout, if you feel like your right hip is a little closer to the floor, you can say, oh, I'm out of neutral, I gotta get back. So let's take one more here, and then we'll come back to our neutral alignment, right centered in that triangle position. And now let's establish our breath. Nice deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Just start to center yourself. Think about getting rid of all of those responsibilities. Anything that's waiting for you at the other end of this workout, just push it out of your mind. Take this moment for yourself, for your body. Do something healthy. Enjoy this time. One last deep breath here. And now that we've got our neutral pelvis and we're breathing in through our nose, out through either our nose or our mouth, whatever feels more comfortable for you, we'll start building upon that neutral alignment and get a little warmer into our muscles. So from here, let's draw the right leg out, press it away for a slide of the heel. Exhale, squeeze it back in without letting those hips move. Left leg will reach out, slide along the floor, and then squeeze back in, waking up our thighs. Right leg presses out and squeezes back in. And you may notice as your leg extends away that draws you into an arched back position. If you find that happening, just stop wherever you start to deviate from neutral. So let's say you get your leg out here and then your back wants to arch. That's okay, just stop right there and you can pull right back in. Same with the other side. Stop wherever you come out of neutral, and then next time you do this workout, you'll get a little longer, a little longer, a little longer. And eventually you'll be able to get your leg all the way out. It just takes time and practice. We'll do one more here on each leg, warming up through the core. So we're still activating in our abs to maintain our neutral pelvis. But we're stretching while we're doing it. So we have one more here on the other side. And then from here, we'll take this into a knee lift. So trying to keep a 90-degree bend in the knee, come up to lift, 90 degrees at the hips, and then release. Other side, same thing. Try to draw up to that half tabletop and then release down. If you feel yourself starting to deviate from neutral in your pelvis, then stop wherever you feel yourself coming out of alignment and then maintain that position. Now, if this feels good and you want to move on from here, if this feels too easy, need a little extra challenge, we'll bring both legs up and toe tap to the floor. So now we're right here, tapping the right toe until it almost touches the ground and then pulling it right back up. And same with the left. Now you might hear that you always have to point your toes or that you should never point your toes. I just want you to do whatever feels comfortable in your body. If pointing your toes gives you calf cramps, then don't do it. If flexing your feet, making your toes point up to the ceiling doesn't feel good, don't do that either. You don't have to do anything special with your toes here. We're focusing on the core, on the trunk. So we'll take one more of these toe taps or knee raises, and then we'll come back down, bringing our feet to the floor, and bring those arms up overhead for some circles. Exhale, circle around. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhale, circle around. Because our chest and our shoulders are part of our core as well. Our back muscles and our neck muscles, they're all part of that core musculature. So we want to make sure everything is nice and warm before we get too far into our practice. We'll take one more breath right here. And then as we bring our arms out, let's bend the elbows, sneak those fingertips behind the head. Try to lift out through the top of the head as we crunch up. Inhale down, exhale, crunch. Thinking about creating space from the top of the head out through the tailbone. So they don't have to be high crunches. We're just squeezing a little bit more through this musculature in the front of the belly. Squeeze, 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 and release. One more time here, reaching up, releasing down, and then we'll add a twist. So we crunch up, twist, left shoulder to right hip, and then back down, and take the other side. Come up, crunch, twist, right shoulder to left hip, and then back down. Trying to keep the elbows wide. If we keep our elbows wide, that means that our arms don't help out and our abs have to do more of the work. So if you want to, you can do it with no arms at all. But if you want to use the arms, try to keep them wide so that the shoulders don't try to help out and take over what the abs should be doing. And we'll take one more here on the other side, and then release back down. You might want to scoot those feet just a little closer to the hips, hands down by the sides. And as we exhale, we'll roll up to our bridge, one vertebra at a time, articulating the spine, bringing the hips all the way up as high as they'll go, and then releasing down one vertebra at a time. This bottom part of the exercise is the hardest, right in the low back. It's really hard to come down on there, so I want you to really concentrate. Exhale, one vertebra at a time, all the way up. Try to keep those knees in line with the hips. Don't let them fall open, and roll it down one vertebra at a time. Right here, stick, stick, stick it, and release. Let's take one more bridge here. Exhaling as we roll through. Inhaling at the top. Exhaling as we come down to the bottom. Inhaling at the bottom of the movement. And if you feel like you need to adjust your feet, do so at any point in time. You want to have your ankles right underneath your knees so that the joints are stacked. That protects the joints, keeps them strong so that they're not out of alignment, and we're relying on muscles and joint tissue, ligaments and tendons that can't necessarily support the weight of our bodies. So joints stacked, and as we come down this time, we'll remain down on the floor, gently rolling here. Let's take the right knee into the chest and just stir that knee. Give it a few circles in one direction, and then we'll circle in the other direction, kind of waking up those hips. From here, we'll extend the leg. You can point straight up to the ceiling if your hamstring flexibility allows for it, or you can point out to the diagonal, wherever it is that your body feels comfortable. From here, we will draw tiny little circles on the ceiling, trying to maintain our strength and our stability in our core. Let's reverse direction here. Now our leg is trying to throw off our alignment, but our abs are so strong that they're maintaining us right where we need to be. Let's reverse one more time. See if we can make these circles a little bigger without drawing the hips out of their neutral alignment. So just a little bigger, working against the strength of the leg, trying to maintain all that core. Let's reverse direction here. Maintain stability through the front of the body, through the sides of the body. So no rocking, no rolling, just strong, strong, strong. Our hips are glued into position. And then we'll let that right leg come down to the floor. Left knee will come into the chest. Just stir it around a few times. Stretch out those hips. And then reverse, opposite direction. And we'll come back to our circles, extending that leg, pointing the toes if you can, and then starting off with teeny tiny little circles, all about core strength right here. And let's reverse direction, starting off small, just like we did on the other side, warming up our hips. Let's reverse direction again, this time make them a little bit bigger. Big as you can without wobbling around from side to side. Squeezing here. And let's take the other direction. Nice, strong legs. Arms are providing a little bit of stability as well. So if you want to make this more challenging, you can pick the arms up off the floor. Make sure your abs are really doing the work and your arms aren't taking over. Now let's maintain the left leg up to the ceiling, draw the right leg up to meet it, and bend those knees so we're back into our tabletop position. From here, we'll add just a little more intensity to the crunches we warmed up with before. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhale, reaching the head, the neck, and now the shoulders off the floor. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling to crunch, keeping the space between the chin and the chest about grapefruit size space, so we're not pulling the chin right down onto the chest. We're maintaining that long neutral alignment through the back of the neck as well as the front. Exhaling up, inhaling down. One more time here, and just as we did at the beginning, we're gonna stay up here, sneak those fingertips back behind the ears. Let's twist, this time in our tabletop position. Now, if your legs start to get tired, if your hip flexors start to give out, that's okay, feet can come back down to the floor. This is just a little less stable, so our abs have to work a little harder than when our feet are on the floor. So we get a little extra bang for our buck in this tabletop position than we do when we're on, when our feet are on the floor. Let's take one more here, side to side, feeling nice and warm, feeling our obliques working. Our oblique muscles are the ones that help us with our twisting, with our rotation. Now, if you want, give me a twist and a leg extension. Coming back through center, we twist and extend the opposite leg. This is like our traditional bicycle. Works everything all together, all those abdominal muscles, our rectus abdominis, our obliques, our transverse. Everybody's coming to this party, helping each other out, working together. This is probably the best ab exercise you can do, so if this is the only one you've got time for, make sure that this is the one that you do every day. We'll take one more here, each side. And then we'll take a much deserved break, give our abs a stretch. Last one to the other side. Let's come back to center. Allow the knees to rest into the chest. Just open up the belly. And then from here, we'll place our feet back on the floor. You want to be able to reach your fingertips against your heels. That way you know they're close enough to your hips. But then sneak them back together so they're only hip distance apart. We don't want our feet to be super wide. We want them hip distance apart. We're coming back up into our bridge. Exhale, roll one vertebra at a time. Make sure that the ribs are in line with the hips, are in line with the knees. Everything is strong through the front and the back of the body. There's no pressure on the head or on the neck. All of our weight is in our shoulder blades and in our feet. Now, if this feels good, stay right here. We're gonna work here for a while. If you want a little more work, bring all the weight into the left foot and extend that right leg up to the ceiling. Option one, stay right here. If you need a little more today, give me some kicks. Reach that leg out and squeeze it back up. Reaching out, squeezing back up. We'll take one more kick here, and then I want to give you another option. If you want to challenge your balance even more, if you feel like your hips are pretty stable, then take that leg out and then bicycle it in. Reaching up and out, bicycle. One more time. Glutes should be feeling this already, but we've got another side to do. So take a break here if you need. We'll place the right foot down. If you want to come out, come out. But if you can, try to stay right here. Let's extend the left leg up to the ceiling. Kick out and up. Reach out nice and long. Squeeze up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Thinking about length the whole time. Think about reaching out through those toes, reaching out through the top of the head. Let's bicycle kick forward. Nice long pedal strokes. And you'll notice that we're doing everything really slowly. The slower you go, the harder you have to work. So we're giving ourselves an extra challenge by moving through water, moving through molasses, moving through honey. Imagine yourself pressing against something. Left leg back down on the floor. Let's roll out one vertebra at a time and draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a rock from side to side here. Massage out the low back. Let's give our spine a chance to reset. And as we come back to neutral, let's extend our legs out. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale into that crunch. Hold on to the thighs and let's roll ourselves the rest of the way up, finding our nice tall seated alignment. Now, option to stay here with our knees bent. This is going to be a good position for anyone who has tight hamstrings. Option to extend the legs out for a straight leg position. This is going to be a good option if you've got tight hip flexors. So whichever one you feel more comfortable with. Nice, tall, straight spine. Let's take our arms, cross them in the center, and exhale, twist to one side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale, back. Exhale, twist. Try to get the ribs as far over to the side as you can. And then to the other side. Now again here, toes can be pointed, toes can be flexed. I like to flex mine because it forces me to turn on my quadriceps and keep my knees in line. But do whatever feels right for your body. If you need a little more here, arms can come out to the sides. This just gives you a little more weight to work against as we twist. Really working our obliques. This also allows our back to turn on. You can knit your shoulder blades together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now let's take one more here on each side. And from here, we'll come back to center, release our legs out to the corners of our mat so they're a little wider than hip distance apart. And just walk those hands out. Give that spine a stretch. You might want to reach your arms as far as you can. You might feel more comfortable. Elbows under shoulders. All that matters is that we're stretching out the back. Giving our hamstrings a little stretch too, so we feel the length here in the back of our thighs. And we're going to put the twist together with the forward fold. So let's roll up. Find our nice neutral alignment. Reach those arms out to the sides. Twist once again, and then reach for the toes. Coming back up, twist and reach. This is called saw. Can you imagine sawing off our toes? And then we come back up. But it's nice because it gives us a twist and a reach. So we're putting together an ab strengthener with a hamstring stretch. And we're also getting our back a little more involved. So in a perfect world, we're twisting all the way to the side. We're just gonna go as far as we can, as far as we feel comfortable. And we'll come back to center. Bring those hands right underneath our shoulders. Bring our feet hip distance apart once again. And let's give our front side a stretch. Coming up into a reverse plank. This is a bent knee reverse plank. We've got our hips up in line with our knees and our shoulders. We want to keep our chin kind of into our chest if that feels comfortable. You can also look back behind you if that feels better, but that is going to put more pressure on the neck. So only do that if it feels really comfortable. This is a great shoulder stretch. I feel the stretch in my biceps as well, and I certainly feel the work in my glutes, my quads, my hamstrings, and in my abdominals. So we'll take one more breath here. Release back down. Give your knees a little hug. Undo some of that work for the back. Get a nice stretch going here. And we're gonna try that again. Option to keep the knees bent this time, or we can straighten out the knees for our reverse plank. So if you'd like, keep the knees straight. Now this puts a little pressure on the knees. If you've got knee issues you're working with, stick with the bent knee position. But if you've got healthy knees and you want the extra challenge, hands go underneath the shoulders again, and we reach up into our reverse plank. Now check yourself. Make sure you can bend those knees. Make sure you can wiggle them. We're not just allowing the pressure to build up in those knee joints. We've got 20 more seconds here in this reverse plank. Strong, strong, strong. Think about lifting our heart to the ceiling, reaching out through the crown of the head, reaching out through the knees or the toes. And let's release back down. You can bend the knees if you'd like, or keep the legs straight. Nice long stretch for the low back. And roll it up. We're gonna take those knees around, coming onto our hands and knees in our tabletop position. So our knees are right underneath our hip joints. Hands are right underneath our shoulder joints. And we've got our neutral pelvic alignment, which means you could balance your water bottle right here on your sacrum and it wouldn't tip side to side or front to back. Abs are in strong here. Let's take a cat-cow. Rolling up, releasing the spine, stretching the back. Inhale, open the belly, pull the chest forward. Tailbone up to the ceiling. Rounding the spine for cat. Arching the spine for cow. And let's establish that neutral alignment once again. Options here for spinal balance, extending the right leg back and then the left. Trying to keep the hips stationary the whole time. Imagine that water bottle on your sacrum. We don't want the water to spill even though we're moving the legs. Now if you need a little more, take the arms too. Right arm, left leg, reach and release. Left arm, right leg, reach and release. Again, you can point or flex the feet, whatever feels best for you, but it's gonna be safer to have your thumb up to the ceiling. That keeps the shoulder in its neutral alignment as opposed to any other hand position. So let's try for thumbs up, toes down, or toes back. And we'll take one more right here, one more extension, just straight forward. And then we'll add on a little more challenge for the obliques and for the hips and for the shoulders. So the next time we bring that right leg back, let's extend straight and then open out to the side, diagonal. Close it back to center and come right on back down, hands and knees. Again, other side, right arm, left leg, reach out. Now come out to the diagonal, back to center, and release. Is that water bottle still balancing on your sacrum? I hope so. Reach, reach, reach. Extend out, squeeze back, and release down. Other side, reach out, come off to the sides, back to center, and down. Last time on each side, trying to keep the eyes pointing down to the floor so that the neck remains in its neutral alignment. Think about lengthening out top of the head, out the tailbone, and let's come back down, reaching our hands forward just a touch. Press the hips back. Let's find child's pose. Stretch out the spine here. And while we're here, let's check in with our hands. We want our middle fingers pointing straight forward. Thumbs are trying to point toward each other. Pinkies are trying to reach towards the outsides of the mat. Inhale forward here. Let's find plank on the knees. Exhale back to child's pose. Inhale, reach, shoulders on top of wrists. Exhale back. One more time, just establishing our plank. Now we get to add some push-ups. So let's come forward, establish that plank, and now elbows are going to reach back, 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 and then straighten out the arms. Elbows point straight back. We're hugging our rib cage and releasing, reaching out through the top of the head. Lots of space between the ears and the shoulders. Let's do one more of those push-ups, and then we're gonna come all the way back to child's pose. Reaching forward, elbows press back to our triceps push-up, all the way back to child's pose. It's not a big movement in the shoulder. We're not coming all the way down to the floor. We're just trying to find a 90-degree bend in the elbow. It happens before you think it does. You don't have to come super close to the floor. Last time here, we'll come into our triceps push-up. This time, inhale, reach the chest forward and stretch out the belly, squeeze the back muscles. You can always come down to the floor if that feels more comfortable, or you can press back up onto your hands, whatever feels best in your body. One more breath here, and let's come back to child's pose. Stretch out that spine. From here, let's bring our right leg forward, open up our hips. So we want to press our hips forward. Imagine a straight line from this front knee through the hips to the back knee. Then press the hips back. Press the hips forward and press the hips back. So we're warming up our hips, getting them ready to take on a little bit more work. Last time here with the right leg forward. Keeping our abs in strong the whole time. Still trying to maintain that neutral pelvic alignment. And then we'll trade. So hands come forward. Bring the right leg back. Give ourselves a little push-up. Inhale, chest through to cobra. Exhale, hips back. Child's pose. Left leg will come forward this time. Opening up our hips on this side. So we have our hamstrings opening in the left leg, and as we come forward, we have our hip flexors opening in the right leg. This should feel really good after the work we've done so far. Stretch out those muscles, and we're going to put all of this together for a modified sun salutation. So let's plant our palms here, take the left leg back to meet the right, find that plank, come halfway down, inhale chest forward, and exhale hips back. So our half series, our push-up portion, followed by our lunges, our crescents. We'll come forward to plank, lower halfway down, inhale chest forward, exhale hips back. Let's take the right leg forward, find that lunge on the knees. If you'd like balance, inhale arms up overhead, exhale hands back down to the mat. Find that child's pose once again. Left leg comes forward. Inhale, open up. Exhale, release down. Child's pose. And then we'll do it on the other side. So coming forward to plank. Lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Left leg will come forward this time. Find that lunge. Open up to balance. Head to the fingertips, step the left leg back to meet the right. And then right leg will come forward. Same thing. Find that nice neutral alignment. Open up. And come on back to child's pose. Let's take that one more time here. Reach through to plank. Lower halfway down. Inhale, chest forward to cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Right leg forward, find that lunge. Open up here in balance. Come on back down to child's pose. And left leg will come through. Find that balancing lunge, or crescent lunge. Back in child's pose. And then we'll finish it up on the other side. Plank, chaturanga, cobra, child's pose. Left leg reaches forward, find that lunge. Open up here, balance. Back to child's pose. Right leg will come forward. Open up, balancing in our crescent lunge. And we're coming back to child's pose. Hanging out in child's for a few breaths here. Reaching our fingertips long, reaching our tailbone back. Let's walk those hands over to the side of the mat. Give the side back a deeper stretch here. If you find it difficult to breathe in this position, you can widen your legs. Come back through center, bring those hands over to the other side. Opening up the back. Nice and long through that side back. And then we'll come back through center. Both arms pressing equally. Reach, reach, reach. As I mentioned again, you can take the knees wide. If you're having trouble breathing, this gives you a slightly different stretch. And then we'll come back up. Let's find those hands and knees. I'm going to turn around and face you, and we'll bring one knee, cement it down into the floor. The other leg is going to come out to the side, and we want that foot to be in line with our standing supported knee. Knee is right under hip, is right under ribs, and from here, let's open up the side body. Reach, try to look up under that arm if you can, stretching out the chest in our gate pose. This should feel good after all the twisting that we did. Give you a nice long side of the waist. With our next inhale, let's use that breath to open up. Bring that hand down to the floor so that it's underneath the shoulder. Knee is still under hips. And we'll take this top leg up for our side plank, modified side plank here. Option to keep the hand low, or you can extend, reach it up nice and high. Shoulders are stacked. That means one shoulder directly on top of the other. Shoulders are on top of wrists. We're extending out, extending. You can feel the sides of the waist working here. You can feel the front and the back. You can feel the hips. Everything working together. And then let's release that foot. Come back up. Sneak that leg underneath. And we'll take our thumbs and try to get those thumbs up under the ribs, our knuckles right on top of our hip bones. So that's going to allow us to open up through the back of the body, squeeze those elbows together, and then just look up to the ceiling. Feel the opening in the chest. Feel the front of the shoulders. Particularly if you spend a lot of time seated at a desk, at a computer, this is a great stretch for you because it helps to open up the chest and the belly, and the hips, and the neck, all muscles that tend to get tight when we type all day. Let's come back up, we'll take it over to the other side. So now we've got the other leg that's taking on our weight. We're going to extend out, and then reach up. Try to look under the arm if you can, if that feels okay for the neck. Feel that side getting longer, cleaner. Feel the hips getting stronger. We're balancing here. If you need a little assistance with balance, you can have a chair nearby. Place your hand on to give you a little extra support. And then we'll come down into that hand. Extend this leg for our modified side plank. Options for the arms. Reach nice and long here. Again, toes can be pointed, flexed, whatever feels good to you. Try to keep that chest stacked and open. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We're holding here for just a few more seconds. One more breath. And we'll come back up. Set that foot down. Open it back up. Sneak that knee underneath so it's right under our hip bones. And let's bring our hands into the back. Open up the chest once again. So we're just looking, it's not a back bend, it's a chest and belly opener. We're not crunching in the back. That's why we've got our hand in this position. Keep the space between the thumb and the knuckles on both sides. And then come back to center. We'll finish off stretching these hips that worked so hard for us today. So just have a seat. We'll take the legs around in front of us. Legs can be extended or you can keep them bent. And we'll take one leg and just cradle it in the arm. Rocking it back and forth. It's called cradle the baby. So imagine just rocking your baby side to side. Try to stay in your neutral hip alignment. And then we'll set that ankle on top of the opposite knee. So we're actually on the shin right above the ankle, on the thigh right above the knee, not directly on the ankle joint or the knee joint. And we'll slide that leg in. If you want, you can bring your hands back for some extra support. And this is our seated figure 4 stretch. You should feel a nice opening through the hips here. Oh, after our side planks with those leg extensions, this should feel pretty good. Open up our hips. This is also a great one if you spend a lot of time seated during the day. If you run, if you bike, these muscles are hard to stretch. They're very important to keep flexible. Let's extend that out. We'll trade our legs, cradle the baby on the other side. You can hold here with the hands if you want. You can make your cradle a little tighter, but make sure that your back stays straight the whole time. So if you are rounding your spine, if you're coming out of your neutral alignment, then don't hold so much leg. We want to make sure we've got our nice flat back. And then same thing, we'll put the right above the ankle onto the right above the knee. Slide that leg in for our figure 4 stretch. And open up. I like to have my hands behind me so I can use my body a little more to lean into the stretch. But we're still opening the chest, still maintaining our neutral pelvic alignment and our neutral spinal alignment. Nice and tall. And release it down. Take one last breath here in easy pose. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands together. Thank you so much for